Be me, 24F? Not to toot my own horn, but I'm what you'd call a catch. Solid 8 out of 10 on a good day, 7 on a bad one. Hair is on point, got my skincare routine down to a science. Got a decent job in marketing. It's mostly just making PowerPoints and pretending to laugh at my boss's boomer jokes, but it pays for my brunch habit and my ever-expanding collection of throw pillows. Life is, for the most part, pretty good. The centerpiece of this good life is my boyfriend, Liam. Be him, 25. Liam is perfect. Or he was. He's a software engineer, which means he's smart and makes good money. Automatic points. He's tall, not like a lanky praying mantis, but a solid, comforting tall. Has a nice beard he keeps trimmed. Looks good in a flannel. We met 2.5 years ago through a dating app. One of the classy ones, not the cesspool ones. Our first date was at this cute little Italian place downtown. He was nervous. I was charming. He laughed at all my jokes, even the bad ones. He paid. It was textbook. The first year was a whirlwind. A montage you'd see in a rom-com. Weekend trips to the coast. Picnics in the park where he'd pretend to like my quinoa salad. Binge-watching entire seasons of shows in a single weekend. Cuddled up under a blanket. He'd leave little notes for me on the bathroom mirror. I'd make him his favorite breakfast on Sundays. He remembered my coffee order. I remembered his favorite sports team. It was disgustingly perfect. My friends were jealous. His friends were, well, we'll get to them. About a year in, we decided to take the next step, moving in together. We found this great 2-bedroom apartment. Big windows, a little balcony. I had visions of us drinking wine on that balcony, watching the sunset. He had visions of turning the second bedroom into a home office/man cave, a small red flag, but I ignored it. Compromise, right? The first few months of living together were bliss. It was like a permanent sleepover with your best friend who you also get to sleep with. We fell into a comfortable routine. Work, gym, come home, cook dinner together. Or, more accurately, I'd cook, and he'd do a terrible job of chopping vegetables, and I'd lovingly tease him about it. Watch a movie, fall asleep on the couch, move to the bed. Life was settled. I was looking at rings on Pinterest. Not in a crazy way, just planning. And then, the cracks began to show. They were small at first. Hairline fractures in our perfect little world. And they all had names. Dave, Mark, and Chris. Liam's friends. The nerd herd. The fellowship of the unshowered. I had met them before, of course. In small, manageable doses. They'd come over to watch a game or we'd meet them out for a beer. They seemed harmless enough. Awkward, but harmless. Dave was the ringleader. He was the dungeon master. A title he took far too seriously. Short, round, with a beard that looked like a bird's nest, and glasses perpetually smudged. He spoke with a weird theatrical cadence, like he was narrating an audiobook no one wanted to listen to. Mark was the Warhammer guy. Skinny, pale, and intense. He had this habit of staring at things for too long, like he was calculating their tactical advantages. He always had flecks of paint on his hands and under his fingernails. Chris was the magic, the gathering guru. He was the quiet one, but he had this air of smug superiority. He'd just sit there, shuffling a deck of cards over and over. The sound was like a million tiny whispers, slowly driving me insane. Their designated day was Friday, D&D night. At first it was fine. It was his one night. I'd have the apartment to myself. I'd order sushi, put on a face mask, and watch reality TV shows that he hated. It was my girl night in. He'd come home around midnight, smelling faintly of Mountain Dew and basement. He'd be energized, talking a mile a minute about beholders and critical hits, and other nonsense I didn't understand. I'd just smile and nod. That's nice, honey. But then, Friday night began to bleed. It started subtly. Hey, babe, the session's running a little late. We're in a big boss fight. Don't wait up. Midnight became 1 a.m., then 2 a.m. Then it started encroaching on Saturday. Hey, babe, we didn't finish the dungeon last night. The guys are going to come over for a few hours to wrap it up. A few hours meant from noon until dinner. My quiet Saturdays, our Saturdays, were now filled with the sound of Dave's booming voice, the clatter of dice, and the occasional triumphant or despairing shout. The living room, my beautifully curated living room with the sage green accent wall and the carefully chosen art prints, became a dungeon. They'd bring snacks, Doritos, Cheetos, anything that leaves a fine orange powder on every surface. I started finding stray dice in the couch cushions. Weird multi-sided dice that looked like rejected jewels. I tried to be the cool girlfriend. I really did. One Saturday, I made them a pitcher of iced tea. "Oh, thanks," Dave said, not even looking up from the weird screen he hid behind. "But we've got a 2-liter of Code Red." I put the iced tea in the fridge. It sat there for a week before I poured it down the drain. I asked Liam once what it was all about. "It's a collaborative storytelling game, babe. It's about creativity and teamwork. It looks like you're doing math homework with weird-shaped dice." He sighed. The sigh of a man trying to explain color to a blind person. "You wouldn't get it." That became a common refrain. Then came the next invasion, the plastic plague. Warhammer 40,000. Mark, the intense one, got Liam hooked. It started with a small box. "Just a starter set," Liam said. "Just to try it out." He cleared a small corner of his desk in the man cave. That corner grew. It metastasized. Soon, the entire desk was covered in tiny plastic soldiers on little black bases. Some were assembled, a sea of gray plastic. Some were in pieces on a sprue, whatever that is. Then came the paints. Dozens and dozens of tiny little pots with names like Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade. The smell. A chemical, acrid smell that clung to the carpet in the second bedroom. Our dining table, where we had once eaten romantic dinners, was now a designated painting station. He'd lay down newspaper and spend hours hunched over, a tiny brush in hand, a magnifying visor on his head like some kind of demented jeweler. He was painting little green monsters with boils and guts hanging out. "They're Nurgle Plague Marines, babe. They represent decay and entropy. Isn't the aesthetic cool? They're disgusting, Liam, and they're on the table where we eat. I'll clean it up before we eat, I promise." He rarely did. I'd have to carefully wipe away little flecks of Death Guard green before putting down our plates. The money. Oh God, the money. I once asked how much a little plastic guy cost. This squad of 5 was about $60. 60? For that? I pointed at 5 gray plastic figures that were smaller than my thumb. "Yeah. And then you have to get the paints, and the brushes, and the glue, and the codex." My eye twitched. The next week, I suggested we go away for a weekend. A little cabin upstate. Reconnect. "I don't know, babe. Money's a little tight this month." That evening, a large box from Games Workshop arrived. He called it an impulsor. It looked like a plastic shoebox with guns. It cost over $100. I didn't speak to him for the rest of the night. He didn't seem to notice. He was too busy clipping plastic pieces and sniffing the glue. Our intimacy started to fade. It used to be that he couldn't keep his hands off me. Now his hands were covered in paint or holding a game controller. He'd stay up until 3 a.m., not with me, but on Discord. I could hear the murmur of their voices from the other room. Laughter, shouting, the language of their tribe. I started to feel like a ghost in my own home. I'd walk out of the bedroom in a new lingerie set I had bought specifically to get his attention. He'd glance up from his phone. "Oh, hey, babe. Looks nice." Then right back to the screen. I'd stand there for a full minute, feeling foolish and invisible, before quietly going back to the bedroom to change. The excuses became more frequent. "Can't do date night this Thursday, babe. Chris is hosting a magic tournament." "What's wrong with Friday? Friday is D&D, you know this. So you get 2 nights with them and I get 0 with you? We live together. I see you all the time." He didn't see me. He saw a roommate. A piece of furniture I tried to take an interest. I really, truly did. I swallowed my pride. One evening, I walked into the man cave while he was painting. "Hey," I said softly. "What you working on?" "Just highlighting the armor panels on my Blightlord Terminators." Cool. Can I try?" He looked at me, then at his precious plastic men, like I was a toddler asking to hold a priceless vase. I don't know. It takes a really steady hand." "I do my own eyeliner, Liam. I think I can handle it." He reluctantly handed me a brush and a model he clearly didn't care about. A little one-eyed goblin thing. A nurgling, he called it. "Okay, so just take a tiny bit of this lighter green and just catch the edge of the boils." My hand was shaking a little. I was so nervous. I just wanted this to be a moment for us. I dipped the brush and tried to paint. The paint went on too thick, a clumsy green glob on the creature's head. "Whoa, he said, snatching it from my hand. "You're supposed to thin your paints." Basic stuff. "Oh man, you've clogged the details." He spent the next 10 minutes trying to fix my mistake, muttering under his breath. I backed out of the room. I didn't cry until I got to the bathroom and turned the shower on so he wouldn't hear me. That was the last time I tried to enter his world. I started getting bitter. I'll admit it. I'd make snide comments. Have fun with your little dolls tonight. Don't stay up too late playing your children's card game. He'd either ignore me or just give me a tired look. It's a complex strategy game. The fighting got worse. It wasn't just passive aggression anymore. It was full-blown arguments, usually on Sunday nights, after he had spent the entire weekend immersed in his hobbies. I feel like I don't even have a boyfriend anymore, Liam. What are you talking about? I'm right here. No, you're not. Your body is here, but your mind is on some stupid planet with space elves or whatever. You care more about those stupid pieces of plastic than you do about me. That's not true, and it's not fair. You can have your hobbies, and I can't have mine. My hobbies are Pilates and reading books. They don't take over our entire apartment and consume every waking moment of your life. It's not every waking moment. God, you're being so dramatic. It would end in a stalemate. He'd retreat to his cave. I'd retreat to the bedroom. The apartment would be silent, charged with resentment. The breaking point came on our 3rd anniversary. 3 years. A milestone. I decided to pull out all the stops. I was going to save us. I was going to remind him of what we had. I made a reservation at that fancy steakhouse he loved, the one we went to on our 1st anniversary. I bought a new dress. Black, slinky, the kind he used to go crazy for. I spent all afternoon getting ready. Hair, makeup, the works. I looked incredible. I was just putting on my earrings when my phone buzzed. A text from him. Hey, so sorry, babe, something's come up. Can't make it tonight. My blood ran cold. I called him immediately. It went to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I started to panic. Was he in an accident? Was he hurt? I texted him back. What's wrong? Are you okay? Where are you? 5 minutes later, he replied, I'm at Dave's. His mom had a fall. She's in the hospital. The guys and I are here to support him. It's really bad. I'll call you later. Happy anniversary. I love you. My anger immediately deflated, replaced by a wave of guilt. His friend's mom was in the hospital. Of course he had to be there. I was a monster for being angry. I texted back, Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do? Tell Dave I'm thinking of him. I took off the dress. I wiped off my makeup. I ordered a pizza and watched The Notebook, crying for multiple reasons. The next day I felt terrible for him. For Dave, I decided to make a casserole. It's what you do when someone's mom is in the hospital. A nice, comforting lasagna. I spent the afternoon cooking. It felt good to do something. I texted Liam, Hey, I made a lasagna for Dave and his family. I can drop it off at his place. No reply. I figured they were at the hospital. I knew where Dave lived. It was a 20-minute drive. I put the hot lasagna in a carrier and drove over. I walked up to Dave's front door. I could hear them inside. Not hushed, somber tones, not worried conversation. I heard shouting, laughter. I heard Dave's booming voice. I am moving my entire fleet to the Mechatol Rex system for the glory of the Emirates of Hakan. I froze, my hand hovering over the doorbell. I peeked through the window. There they were, Liam, Dave, Mark, and Chris, sitting around a huge table covered in a giant galaxy print game board and hundreds of little plastic spaceships. There was no sign of grief, no worry. They were drinking beer. They were eating chips. Dave's mom wasn't there. Dave's dad wasn't there. Liam was laughing. A big, genuine laugh. The kind I hadn't heard from him in months. He looked happy. He looked relaxed. He looked like a man who had gotten out of jail. I stood there on the porch, holding a lasagna that suddenly felt like the heaviest thing in the world. I didn't ring the bell. I walked back to my car, put the lasagna on the passenger seat, and drove home in a state of cold, quiet rage. He came home late that night. He tried to be quiet, but I was awake, waiting. I was sitting on the couch in the dark. Hey, he whispered, fumbling for the light. Don't, I said. My voice was flat. He stopped. You're still up. How's Dave's mom? I could see his silhouette stiffen. She's stable. They're keeping her overnight for observation. A perfect, practiced lie. That's good, I said. It's great you guys could be there for him, to support him. Yeah, well, that's what friends do. And what was the game you were playing? To support him? Silence. The kind of silence that is louder than any explosion. What are you talking about? He finally managed to say. I went to Dave's, Liam. I brought a lasagna. For the grieving family. I turned on a lamp. The look on his face was a mixture of panic and exhaustion. He wasn't even smart enough to look guilty. I looked through the window. It looked like you were all having a great time. fighting for the glory of the Emirates of whatever. Look, it's not what you think, isn't it? I stood up. Isn't it exactly what I think? You lied to me. You blew off our anniversary, our 3-year anniversary, to play a board game. It helped him take his mind off it. It's a 12-hour game. It's a huge commitment. We had it planned. You had it planned? On our anniversary? I forgot, okay? It slipped my mind. That was it. That was the line. You forgot. I said it slowly, letting each word hang in the air. You forgot about the person you supposedly love. You forgot about 3 years of our lives. But you remembered the rules to your little galaxy game. You remembered to bring the beer. You remembered to lie. All the frustration, the loneliness, the nights spent feeling invisible, it all came pouring out of me. I was screaming. I was crying. I was throwing the decorative throw pillows. You care more about them than me. You care more about this stuff, this plastic junk. It's pathetic. It's my hobby. It's what I like to do, he yelled back. So you don't like to do things with me anymore? Is that it? It's not that. It's just, with them it's easy. It's fun. I don't have to try. The words hit me harder than a slap. You have to try? With me? That's not what I meant. No, that's exactly what you meant. I was sobbing now. I'm work. I'm an obligation. Your friends are fun. I get it. I sank onto the couch, defeated. You have to choose, Liam, I whispered. You can't have both. You can't have this life with me and that life with them. It's me or it's them. It was the ultimate ultimatum. I was sure I knew how he would answer. He would break down. He would apologize. He would promise to change, to sell the little plastic men, to quit the stupid elf game. He would choose me. He just stood there. The anger had drained from his face. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in what felt like a year, and there was nothing there. No love, no pain, no conflict, just weariness. He let out a long, slow breath, the sound of a final decision being made. You're right, he said, his voice quiet. I do have to choose. He walked past me, into our bedroom. I heard him opening drawers. He came back out with a duffel bag. He started putting his things in it, a few changes of clothes, his laptop, his toothbrush. What are you doing? I asked, my voice trembling. I'm going to go stay at Dave's for a few days, he said, not looking at me. I think we need some space. You're choosing them. It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact. He stopped packing. He finally looked at me again. Yeah, he said. I guess I am. He zipped up the bag, walked to the door, and left. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't say I love you. The door clicked shut, and I was alone in the quiet apartment. He chose his friends over me. He chose Dungeons and Dragons and plastic toys over a future with me. I couldn't comprehend it. The next week was a blur of crying and phone calls to my friends who all told me what a monster he was. He came by one afternoon when I was at work to get the rest of his things. He didn't take the couch or the TV or the good kitchen knives. He just took his clothes, his computer, and about 10 large cardboard boxes filled with his games, his painted figures, his rule books, his real treasures. Months passed. The gaping wound in my life slowly started to scar over. I rearranged the apartment. I made the man cave into a guest room/yoga studio. I cleansed the place of his nerdy energy, but I still thought about him. I still stalked his social media. Pathological, I know. I'd see pictures of him and the nerd herd. They went to conventions, they hosted big game nights. He looked happy, thinner, but happy. It was a constant twisting knife in my gut. He was thriving without me. Then, about 6 months after the breakup, I saw it. A photo Mark had posted. It was a big group shot from a Warhammer tournament, and Liam was in the picture. His arm was around a girl. She wasn't my type, to put it mildly. She had brightly colored pink hair, cut short, big, thick-rimmed glasses. She was wearing a t-shirt with some kind of cartoon skull on it. She was one of them. I felt a sick sense of victory. Of course, he'd downgraded. But then I looked closer. In the photo, Liam was smiling, and she was smiling back at him. In her other hand, she was holding a collection of beautifully painted miniatures, her own. I clicked on her tagged profile. Her entire feed was pictures of her hobbies, pictures of her painting, pictures of her playing D&D, pictures of her at a computer, coding. There was a picture of her and Liam in his old man cave, which was now their man cave. They were sitting side by side at the desk, each painting their own little figures, a companionable silence between them. There was another photo of them on a weekend trip. They weren't at a beach resort. They were at a gaming convention, holding hands and posing with someone in a cheap-looking alien costume. They looked ecstatic. And that's when it finally hit me. The horrible, crushing, soul-destroying truth. The lasagna on the porch. The ignored lingerie. The smell of paint. The sound of dice. The ultimatum. I had been so focused on the symptoms that I never saw the disease. The problem wasn't the hobbies. The problem wasn't the friends. It was me. I realized he didn't choose his friends over me. He didn't even choose her over me. He just chose a life where he didn't have to lie about being happy. And his friends weren't a fortress he was hiding in. They were just the first people to show him the escape route. And I'll never forgive him for making me see that.